education level, 64% have an MSc or a master's degree, 22% undergrad, ready to grow, and about 8% with a polytechnic graduate. So again, from there to undergraduate to postgraduate, and about 6% have a PhD. What this tells me is that there is potential for growth for many people. In some cases, you've got really good education background, but you're looking to grow in another area. And that's also extremely important because everything is changing rapidly in terms of content, knowledge, information. And if you don't keep upgrading yourself, you'll be obsolete very quickly. And the way we design our programs with GCP and others is you can stack them. If you have a diploma, by having 2 diplomas, you'll get a postgraduate diploma. If you have 2 postgraduate diplomas, you'll get a master's degree. And this way you can build yourself. Professional experience, majority of you have between 3 to 5 and 6 to 10. Wonderful. From your background, we have a large number of people from the healthcare delivery, hospital and clinic, supply chain, and a fair amount from the industry, diagnostics, etc. So you should also be aware, in addition to the pharmaceutical management, which is today's focus, we're also offering digital health as a career option for many people. Lots of jobs available across Africa, Asia, and Europe. So please look into that for your growth if that's an area of interest for you. But today we talk about pharmaceutical management, manufacturing, and regulatory. All right, and in terms of objectives, understanding the global pharmaceutical value chain, exploring career pathways, upskilling. So with that and networking, let's jump right into it. Thank you. All right, the first speaker, Mr. Eric Owusu. Like I said, he is with the Ghana FDA, one of the leading regulatory authorities of Africa. And I have a question. You can quickly type it in the chat. Who is the first Director General of the Africa Medicines Agency, and from which country is she? Don't say anything, just type it in the chat. Who is the first Director General of the African Medicines Agency, and from which country is she? Let me know if we have a few responses. Yes, I see them coming in. Exactly, Dr. Mimi Darko of Ghana. And that tells you something. All right, that means the head of the Ghanaian FDA has been given the honor for the entire continent. And she really is a force, both from a knowledge, a regulatory point of view, and she and I worked very closely in the area of pharmacovigilance in our younger days. So next slide, please. So with that, and that's the same organization that Eric works for. That's why I wanted to highlight that. All right, Eric, you've chosen regulatory as an option, given your background and everything else. We'd love to hear from your graduation days, when you weren't sure what you wanted to do, or maybe you were, till where you are today as head of drugs and nutraceuticals at Ghana FDA. Talk to us about your career pathway so that the people that are here can also learn what are some of the decisions you made and why you made them as well. So just take about 2 to 3 minutes to talk about yourself. Thank you. And we can stop sharing the slides, and please spotlight Eric so everyone can see him. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this very important webinar. Yeah, I had to manage the time very well to be part of this very important program and to share about myself. So as has been mentioned, my name is Eric. Yes, I completed the university in Ghana here, KNUST. And then, so I graduated with B Pharm, Bachelor of Pharmacy. That's way back in 2001. I must say, at the time, I wasn't so sure I was going to find myself in regulation and to move up there. So I was first, my national service, that's the first year of volunteering work. I was posted to the Food and Drugs Authority. And I think that's where my perspective started changing and I started building a career path alongside. So I went on to do another related program. So I did a master's in pharmaceutical quality by design from the UK. And I think that course really projected me and placed me well in the profession that I had grown to love so much. So in my entire career work has been mainly working in regulation with the Food and Drugs Authority in Ghana. I started from the regional offices of the country and then move on to the head office into regulation. In fact, so with that career pathway, I was exposed to regulatory inspections as GMP. I started getting involved in GMP very early. I did some work in pharmacovigilance and then finally moved on into more into dossier assessment. Okay. Yeah, so that's how the development was like. And gradually climbing through the ladder within FDA, I got the opportunity and I took the advantage of that and became a consultant with the World Health Organization arm of pre-qualification program. So I've actually been an external assessor and a consultant to the WHO pre-qualification program since 2014, and I've grown to become one of their senior external assessors within the system. So in my capacity within FDA, I was also nominated at a point in time to work as part of the regional harmonization in the ECOWAS sub-region. And I was part of those who initially started drafting the procedures, developing the guidelines and the systems to shape up the harmonization. And currently, I'm the vice chair to the experts working group on registration. I've also played key role and contributed significantly to the continental harmonization program, which has culminated now into the African Medicines Agency. So currently within the institution, I'm the head of registration for drugs. And I also at a point took advantage for a fellowship with the B Farm of Germany and came out as a clinical assessor and a fellow for a project that was hosted by the B Farm in conjunction with the Food and Drugs Authority. So
Okay.
I started fresh from school, not knowing really what to do.
Yes. Wonderful.
Through
So
that,
Eric, I'm going to interrupt for us. Eric, let me interrupt for a second and ask a question with what you said, and this is for the audience as well. Like you said, DPharm is more clinical pharmacy, but you ended up more on the regulatory side. That means you had to learn new skills. For this, you said you went to the UK. With that, you picked up the new skills, and then within the FDA, you were moving in different departments, which means you were given that exposure. You again had to learn new skills because even though in regulatory, some of those divisions and departments are very different. Can you talk more about your learning journey and how you had to quickly and rapidly upgrade yourself, and what can the audience learn from that?
Yes, thank you very much. So I felt that to build a career, you must stay relevant. I mean, no one will beg you to come and do something, but you must make yourself relevant to be used. So when I find myself within the institution, I realize wherever the opportunity is to work, I focus on the skill set. What competencies do you need? to stay relevant in a particular unit or a department. And that was my motivation. So, for example, when I started into regulatory inspections and then had interest also in dossier assessment, I realized that if I want to choose a master's program, it has to be a relevant program, something that speaks to where my focus and the interest was. And that's how come I selected the pharmaceutical quality by design. In fact, I took time to actually look at the content of the program. I was not just interested in having another degree. As I looked at the content of the program and felt that, yes, this is exactly what I want. So, and I was the guy who would read every material I come across. In fact, I tell my people that something within the organization, there were times that people would attend programs, training sections. When they come, I go to them, take materials, and by the time they realize, I will be explaining things and teaching them from the course that they attended to. So I think if you really want to stay relevant and stay,
Yes.
you must take advantage of every little opportunity to add on. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, like you said, build your competencies. Make sure that what you do is not just a name, but the right content in the right area. So, understand what you're getting into just before you get into it. And read, read, read. It's very interesting. It's one of the few things that science has shown where the probability of success, they map this out over tens of thousands of children across multiple cultures. They looked at children from the ages of 5 to 10 and then followed them in their adulthood. And what they noticed was the one main factor that was directly proportional to their success as adults was how much reading they did as a child and as they continued to read through their learning period. And especially now with the changes that are going on with AI and new content and new information and new policies, processes, it's all about learning and reading and learning and reinventing ourselves. So thank you very much. Very valuable. I'm going to ask one more question before we shift. Competencies aside, technical aside, you also need to be a good manager and a leader. Otherwise, you can't grow. You've obviously grown. You were given opportunities with WHO, which is very competitive, and it requires more than competency skills. It requires human skills, engagement skills, communication, critical thinking. Talk to us about how you pick those skills up, and what do you suggest for others as well? What can they learn?
All right. So once again, it comes back to deciding to build a particular set of competencies. Now, I realize that within the scope of work, you always have to, in your own small way, even before you climb up, manage people. Because you step out as an inspector and you have to know how to handle even the people you are going to inspect. You have to know how to manage your colleagues around you. Else, you can be a very brilliant person academically, but people wouldn't like to have you around them. So in identifying that, I realized, so what do I need to do? What do I need to read? And it was important for me within my organization to also look up to those who are doing things in the right way and climbing up and try to understand them. What are they doing right? What is making them do what they do? So in addition to what you read, it's good to also really look at mentors, look at people who are doing the thing rightly in front of you, ahead of you, and try to pick up from them. Sometimes you can also understand their challenges that they've gone through, and it helps you to know which areas to look up for and where to build yourself up. And just to add by saying that, for me, I think in trying to build yourself as a manager, it moves with hard work because you must stay relevant. It moves with hard work. You must actually decide to pick on job that no one wants to do, work that no one is being paid.
Right.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
very true. And it's also, I would say, balancing between supporting your seniors, your managers,
I think we are losing Prof.
Yeah, he's freeze. Stand by moderator, please. Can you come up?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So I think I thank you very much. Apologies for losing Prof over there, but I'm sure he'll be joining us as soon as he's able. But thank you so much, Mr. Eric Owusu, for sharing with us some of the things you have learned along the line. And I believe what Prof was getting to was being able to balance your should I say your seniors, your colleagues, and your the people who respond to you. So getting an understanding of how all of these people work together and how you fit into it, how to communicate with all of them. And so thank you very much for sharing with us some of the things that you have picked up along the line and how you pick them up, because I think those are some of the things we want to share with our people today. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you when we've gone through with the other speakers. So if we can go back to the slide, so I switch to Farhan, please.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much for giving me chance today for a wonderful chance for speaking here at this forum, speakers forum. And I'm seeing that we have almost like more than 100 people joining, and which is really a good feeling that a lot of people have appreciated the initiative taken by Power School of Health. Thank you very much for all joining us, and congratulations in Power School of Health. Farhan Ahmed Khan, I started my career from Pakistan after my studies, and I am in the pharmaceutical industry since long. I started my career in the marketing, goes into engineering, came to the process engineering. Like I am a perfect example if you see that I have applied myself in the different roles. And
let's spotlight Farhan so we see him while he's speaking. Let's spotlight Farhan, please.
So
please go on.
Yeah, so I was just telling you that I am the perfect example for those who want to learn that, okay, whatever you have learned in school doesn't mean that you need to, or you are limited. Your career is now limited to that what you have learned in the school. You can always apply. You open your mind. You always apply, and you have a lot of opportunities. For example, rather talking about myself, let me give you some facts that in whole of Africa, if you see that we have approximately 54, we have 54 regulatory agencies. And if you say that in each regulatory agency on an approximately there are 200 employees. So there are 10,800 full-time employees in the regulatory sector of Africa. They should be more. I'm just anticipating. I'm just approximately telling you. If you see in Africa, there are 600 factories, 600 to 690 factories. And if you say that, okay, 500 employees each factory, there are 30,000 employees who are working in the pharmaceutical factories in Africa. You see the logistic workers. So there are almost like 1,600 distributors and all those wholesalers. So you can say that if each of them is employs around 50, and then health services and the logistic chains, so 80,000 employees are associated with that. And the pharmacies, if you say that in Africa there are only 100,000 pharmacies, which is quite wrong. There should be more than 1 million pharmacies. Every street you find a pharmacy. And if they employ 5, so we have millions of employees working there. So there's a lot of opportunity. And the people who are here, they can apply themselves everywhere. So what the thing is that you need to basically come out of your thinking that I am a pharmacist, I can be only a pharmacist. You are a pharmacist, you can be an engineer. You have done biotechnology, and you can go ahead and learn things, and you can be excited. My own is that we started Kina Foundation when I came down to Ghana in when the COVID was there. So Ghanaian government decided that okay, they want to put up a vaccine manufacturing factory. They asked me from Pakistan. The COVID was ending in 2021 December. I came down to Ghana, took up the project of DEK Vaccines Limited. We write a bankable feasibility with Boston Consulting Group and find out that okay, vaccine was never manufactured in Ghana. The question was like, okay, where are we going to find the trained staff who is going to manufacture vaccines in Ghana? So can we depend on expatriates? Though what is the guarantee that expatriates will remain here? They will not find a better job. Even if we train Ghanaians, the Ghanaians graduates who will be trained, they will find some jobs in Europe and US and they will go. Because if you see that a lot of brain drain problem is there because Europe, they all have opened the job seeking visa, technical visa. People who have technical skills, they can go to Europe and join them. And definitely, European companies can pay more than what a Ghanaian company can pay. So the question is that you should have a steady supply of human resource in your factories. Unless you have a steady supply of human resource, you will not be able to manufacture the product in a good price. So what we did is we went ahead and registered a NGO, and that is a non-profit, non-government organization with the name of Kina Foundation. And we started going to Africa CDC and WHO, asking them, okay, what skills they need. So we find out that Africa CDC has done a mapping that in biomanufacturing agenda of PAVM of Africa CDC, they need 12,000 employees up to 2040 to manufacture 60% of the vaccines within Africa. And currently, there are only 3,000 employees, full-time employees in vaccine manufacturing because vaccine manufacturing is only done in South Africa, Egypt, and Senegal in Africa. So now when the new countries are coming up, they need a lot of vaccine biomanufacturing workforce. So who will induct the new staff in the biomanufacturing workforce? So Kina Foundation was designed on a particular model that we will not train the current workers, we will enroll students who are freshly graduated and give them a 6 month training or a 4 month training, enable them to get the job in the biomanufacturing industry. Now, when we are talking about the biomanufacturing industry, we are not talking about the factory, we are talking about the ecosystem. They will be employed in the regulatory, they will be employed into the logistics, they will be employed into the vaccine delivery people, they will be also employed in the factories, regulatory, warehousing, cold chain. So we have now initiated, we have run one cohort, and the course was designed by University of Ghana. We have a relationship with Ghana College of Pharmacists, and this Ghana College of Pharmacists, where you can see the prof director there, she really helped us to evaluate our student at the end of the course. And for the future courses, we have a partnership with them. We have a partnership with Empire School of Health also. And that is what we are performing. So you just need to basically enable yourself, polish yourself, be open, and keep on trying yourself. My message to all of you is that there is no limit. There is no limit to your brain. Whatever you have studied economics, you have studied literature, you have studied whatever mathematics, you can still manufacture pharmaceutical medicine. You can still be the effective part of the pharmaceutical ecosystem at somehow. And there's a lot of opportunities. Africa is currently importing almost like more than 50%, 60% of the pharmaceutical medicine. Let me tell you very simple last by ending it that India and China, they have 1.4 billion, 1.6 billion population. Africa has 1.4 billion population. The only difference is that there is in India there is one regulatory agency, in Africa there are 54 regulatory agencies. Harmonizing them bit difficult, but opportunities are there. In India, they have almost like 14,000 to 20,000 pharmaceutical factories. There will be a time where Africa will cross the limit and they will go up and they will manufacture more. They will be putting up more pharmaceutical because with this COVID, post COVID, we have one very good thing which has happened post COVID, that it has created a lot of awareness. It has created, it has given a political will to the governments and to the stakeholders that okay, the pharmaceutical should be manufactured in Africa. Africa Africans should take or should be given liberty to buy African medicine rather they are dependent on the imported medicine. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you very much, Farhan. Thank you, team, for filling in. And I apologize. I'm in Nigeria right now. I'm traveling, but I did not want to miss this webinar. If my internet goes off, we have others who will fill in for me. Farhan, thank you. That's really important. And I just wanted to highlight 2 points you said. The background of the individual as far as the pharmaceutical industry is concerned can be from various options, various backgrounds. And there's this misunderstanding that I need to be a pharmacist to be in the pharmaceutical sector. It's not the case. Very similarly, people who work for software companies in Silicon Valley, all the Google, the Meta, all the big companies, only about 30% of the people have a software background. The rest of them are engineers, logistics, managers, and all the others. Same thing for the pharma industry. You could be in from multiple backgrounds. You don't just need to be a pharmacist. You could be an engineer. You could be a manager. You could be a logistician. And you could come from the polytechnic background and get a job within 3 to 6 months, like Farhan mentioned. You could come from a bachelor's, master's, but of course, the more certifications and the more learning that you do, the higher you would grow in an organization. So keep working, keep learning as well. And you talked about industry growth and you compared 1.4 billion people, Africans with 1.4 billion Indians. Also want to say that in India, for example, going back 40 years, no one believed that India would be a pharmaceutical powerhouse or that it could create or manufacture enough pharmaceuticals for their own country. The West did not believe it. Europe and US said that's just not possible. Well, now they're importing from China, they're importing from India. Africa has already started exporting to Europe. People don't know that. But there's 4 or 5 African countries exporting to pharmaceuticals to Europe. I'm not talking about textiles and cars and whatever else. Even that's happening. So the number of jobs in this area is going to skyrocket. So if you're interested in this area, look into this. There'll be tens of thousands of jobs being available in your country. So do keep exploring. Farhan, one last question, very briefly, is you've worked for multinationals, you've worked in several countries, and now you happen to be in Ghana. So you bring a wealth of knowledge. What would you say are similar to the question that I asked Eric from the regulatory point of view, from an industry point of view? What would you say are some of the key skills that allowed you to grow and be where you are today, and given your experience from different companies and countries as well?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So what skill is major is like more openness, and the major understanding is the regulatory environment, because whatever you do, this is a very regulated industry. So understanding of the regulatory environment, understanding of that, okay, what are the norms which are basically done. Even you see, you start from logistics, there's a regulatory involved. You pharmacovigilance is involved, even post-marketing. Then when you are doing the marketing, there are limitations. You cannot go and make claims which are not correct, which are not relevant to your dossier or the indications. When you are manufacturing, that is a completely 100% regulated environment. So unless a person who want to enter a pharmaceutical industry or who want to excel a pharmaceutical industry at any level, even from the accounts, if they do not understand the regulatory environment properly, it is very, very difficult to excel in the regulated industry. And After that, then there is a specialization. Then, if we are talking about manufacturing, so any person who is coming into manufacturing, he should be very well very well aware of the GMP environment, because no doubt most of the pharmaceutical country like companies, when they are in an era where the industry is evolving, regulators give them a relaxation that okay, they can do something somehow like a borderline GMP practices, so that the investors get some encouragement, and once they have money, they can stringent the regulatory environment. But still, at the staff level, they need to be very well aware that this medicine or this the pharmaceutical industries, the pharmaceutical medicine, the product of the pharmaceutical industry is for the saving life. There should be no compromise on the quality of the medicine. So understanding that quality of the medicine is very, very important. My own, the last bit I will say is understanding the regulatory environment is the most important thing which can help you to regulate in all over the sector of the all the ecosystem of the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like we may have lost Paul again. Thank you very much, Farhan, for your presentation, your discussion with us. And I think we'll just move on to this other slides that we have. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes, thank you. So my name is Yvonne Yunjua-Isiku. I'm rector of the Ghana College of Pharmacists. I am no longer the vice president of Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, and so I no longer chair the disciplinary committee, but that is something that I used to do previously. Can we have the next slide? Next slide, please. Yes, next slide.
Yeah, Beyond. So I will take it.
Next slide, please.
Yeah, over to you, Leon.
Thank you. So we will briefly, we'll look at some career pathways. From all that we've discussed so far, we are looking at the pharmaceutical sector. We are looking at opportunities that are available. So we will be looking at career pathways that are available, and then look at, I mean, potentially we cannot cover everything. We will also look at how to prepare for entry, and also growth in the sector. Then we'll look at innovative approaches. As we have all heard, it's important that we stay on top of our game. It's important that we keep on learning and sharpening our skills. And then we'll look at how Ghana College of Pharmacists and Empower are working to support the youth and professionals to build industry relevant skills. Next slide, please. So we have just put these into 4 areas: manufacturing, regulatory, quality control and quality assurance, and pharmaceutical care. So when it comes to manufacturing, some of the areas we can be looking at: production, validation across molecule and biologics. I believe our presenters have spoken about biologics, molecules, and all that. So the plants that cover these products are areas that we may want to perhaps specialize in, acquire specific skills in. As Eric told us earlier, we have to identify our area of interest, look for the specific training that will help us build our capacity, build our skills and competencies in those areas. Process engineering, as Paul mentioned earlier, we do, I mean, most of the, or maybe the majority, the clear majority, maybe not over 50%, but if you looked at them as a group, will be people in pharmacy, but then it's not only that. So there will be engineers. So process engineering is one of the areas that we can look at, and we do not have to limit ourselves. No matter our background, we can shift into any of these areas. Now we are looking at new and advanced therapies. So the research of these new developments. These are things that we want to look at. Good manufacturing practice and process automation. We are talking about personnel and the development of the manpower or woman power in the pharmaceutical sector. However, we also know that process of automation is something that's important, and we will need people who can supervise and ensure that the automation is done properly. In regulatory affairs, we've heard our earlier speakers, regulatory compliance is critical. Now, we are looking at international, local requirements for various products, for the product to be released, for the product to be exported. And it's very important that we have people who have an interest in that area and the skill and the competence in that area to support this area of development. Pharmacovigilance, very, very critical, as well as personnel and process requirements for production and release. So we know that personnel, but we also know the process through which, and so it's important that we have people in the regulatory affairs. When the products have been made or throughout the process of production, it's important that we look at quality control and quality assurance. So preventive systems, audits, compliance, laboratory testing. And these are areas that are coming into great demand. So the demand for people in these areas is growing as tighter regulations to ensure that the products that are coming on the market meet the standards that they are supposed to meet, and also effective quality systems and release testing. So all of these are things that are very critical in quality assurance and quality control, that part of the sector. But even though we are looking at the industry, we are looking at the manufacturing sector specifically, we cannot forget about pharmaceutical care, where the people who are the products that have been made, we need people who are trained, who are competent, who are going to interface with the patients and the clients to ensure that the good quality products are used properly for the conditions that we need them to. And of course, we've talked about vaccine production. When the vaccines have been produced, they have safety, pharmacovigilance in all that we do. Next slide, please. So we mentioned that we want to discuss the entry and the growth in the sector. As has been mentioned earlier, the majority of us in the sector will have pharmacy or pharmaceutical sciences background, but there are also people in chemistry, people in engineering, people in biochemistry, and as Paul mentioned earlier, people in statistics, administration, policy, and monitoring and evaluation. So we have different categories of people, all of whom contribute to the sector. At the level of the entry, yes, sometimes the majority are likely to be, that's the majority of the technical people are likely to be degree holders, but that is not the end. As our earlier speakers have mentioned, for all of them, in addition to that, to grow in the industry, to grow in the different areas, they have sought postgraduate training. Now, postgraduate training may be academic in terms of maybe a master's or a PhD or something like that. But in addition, we have programs as are run by the Ghana College of Pharmacists, which are specialist programs which focus more on skill and competency development. Then, of course, not everybody may have the time, the funds to go through all of these, but then there are other ways, ensuring continuous professional development, ensuring that other certifications, there may be certifications that we may acquire along the way, which may not necessarily be at the level of the maybe the graduate level, as in a master's or a PhD, but postgraduate diploma, short courses, for instance, that are run by the Ghana College of Pharmacists and other things all contribute to these certifications. Professional networking is very important because we need to know what is happening in the sector at all times. So it's important that we link up with colleagues who may have the same background as we have, or may have other backgrounds, but we are all in the same sector and working together as colleagues. Now, one thing we should remember is that when we enter, we can look at it in terms of the entry level, and from the entry level, we move to the middle level. That's where we are talking about growth. And so as we acquire new skills, as we acquire new qualifications, we move into the middle level and then we move to the senior level. So all of these help us. We have the entry level requirement. It may be an undergraduate, it may be below the degree level. But if we want to develop, if we want to grow in the industry, move to the middle, move to the senior level, then we have to strategically acquire training and skills that will help us in these areas. Next slide, please. So we can't all move into a classroom, so to speak, to ensure our growth, to acquire new skills. And so it's important that we use innovative approaches. So it could be online, so blended programs which will combine online with in-person, particularly in institutions like the Ghana College of Pharmacists, where our focus is on competency. We need not only the conceptual training, but we need the people to actually acquire the skills. And so we will want to combine so that people do not leave for too long. And also people do not feel like they are sacrificing too much. We've talked about specialization, different certifications. So specialization as would be provided at the Ghana College of Pharmacists and its various collaborators like Empower. Academic progression, that will be postgraduate qualifications, masters, PhDs, some short courses, some CPD, some webinars. Some of the webinars, this webinar is introducing us to various things, but it is also a capacity building webinars. And all of these will help us. But remember, we are in an industry which is producing. So it's important that we find ways of actually being on the ground to have a feel of what is happening. And that is where the in-person training as well as maybe the hands-on training will come in. And so we can acquire these through some level of industry exposure, internships, some volunteering work, that kind of thing in the industry. And also practical rotations, as will happen if you were pursuing a program with the Ghana College of Pharmacists. You would have a practical rotation in the industry. So you will actually go there and do what is being done, and you'll be assessed as well. And of course, it's important that we collaborate with industrial partners. And so there will be some universities, for instance, which will give you some time, some kind of exposure, because they have some collaboration with industrial partners, so that all their students who are looking at going into the industry will get some level of exposure. Next slide, please. Yes. I would have loved to hand over the next few slides to Paul, but I think he's not in, so I will continue with that. So this one just looks at some of the core job areas and the possible career pathway. So we are, in this case, we are not just looking at the general pathway of entry, middle level to senior management level, but we are looking at specifics. So, for instance, I'll just take a few and maybe give all of us a minute to just go through the slide. When we are looking at manufacturing, some of the roles we will be looking at: production technician or processing engineer, and typically a person would go from perhaps a supervisor to a manager to head of operations. So that's how we are looking at it in terms of quality and quality assurance, quality control and compliance. Then we are looking at regulatory affairs, clinical research, and that kind of thing, supply chain and procurement. And then we are also looking at commercial and access. And I see that Paul is right, and I'll hand over to him.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Can you
Next
hear
slide,
me okay?
please. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I have you as my co-moderator, because as you can see, I'm in an unpredictable zone. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's
Thank you
fine.
for being there. Yeah. So next slide, indeed. And the main point here really is to say that there are so many types of jobs available depending on your background and interest. Okay. For me, the slide is not moving ahead. Can you please go to the next slide? Yep, I see it. Target beneficiaries. As I mentioned, youth, next generation African youth and women. There's a whole focus on them. If you are especially under 35, focus rapidly, grow, learn new skills. And for individuals who are in more of your mature stage of growth, 40 plus, learn managerial skills, learn leadership skills, soft skills, in addition to technical skills as well. Next, please. And there's lots of places to look for jobs. But the first and the most important, I would say, is use your network. Use this network. Reach out to the speakers. Look at, on the far right column, the job search platforms that exist in these areas that you can reach out to. So there's a lot of support that for you to first understand what you might be interested in or explore those areas if you're not sure, and then start looking, position yourself now for the long-term growth, because whether you're in manufacturing, regulatory, leadership management, everyone is looking. Multinational companies, UN agencies, they're all looking for growth in this area. Okay. Next slide, please. So how do you get there? So what skills do you need to pick up? You heard from Eric. He really researched what he wanted to study and then went deep into the content of each of those courses as well. So here we have a list. For example, if you're interested in global health, procurement, and supply chain, lots of jobs available in industry, with the UN, with Africa CDC. One of my close colleagues from the Global Fund, where I used to work, she has just joined, for example, Dr. Tala, she has just joined the head of the pooled procurement team at Africa CDC. There are others who are in manufacturing. You heard from Farhan, who talked about Africa CDC and the regional collaborating centers, of which Kina Foundation, and Kina is one of the leading partners for capacity building. Look at the different topics. If you're interested in any of these, you have a good chance to join some of these organizations. Next. And these are at master's level, postgraduate diploma, and diploma. That means you, within 6 months, you would have the necessary degrees and diplomas to move in that direction. Data management is a major area. Everything is now, as you know, about data, numbers, analytics. IT AI. So here's another course. This is if you're interested in data within supply chain, you are already a supply chain person. Here's another area that you could get into as well. Next. Then for those who are interested in, we've been talking about pharmaceutical management. Here are some of the topics. And as you can see, we talk about several different components: pharmaceutical management, understanding the industry. For those who come from a business or management background, there's marketing, there's supply chain, and then you heard from Eric, we here also talk about regulatory, and then you heard from Farhan about manufacturing. So this is a really good 12-month overview of all the different topics that you could get into when you talk about pharmaceutical management. And with this, you then decide which areas you're interested in. And this course, in partnership with GCP, Ghana College of Pharmacists, is also accredited by FIP, International Federation of Pharmacists, and with UNITAR. And you don't need to be a pharmacist to take this course, by the way, as we said earlier. Next. And in the next 3 to 6 months, we'll be launching pharmaceutical manufacturing specialization and a PGD in regulatory sciences. And with 2 postgraduate diplomas, you would then end up having a master's degree as well. So keep that in mind. Next. And we'll finish off very quickly. We've taken up our time. So here's really a key message and action items, a takeaway for all of you who are interested. First of all, optimize. Optimize your LinkedIn profile, optimize your CV. Make sure you write the keywords. And you should not just have one CV. You need 4 or 5 different CVs depending on where you're applying, because everybody is multidimensional. You don't just have one skill set. So pharmaceutical, regulatory affairs, quality assurance, or management, highlight the right areas to the right people. Don't just send one single cover letter or CV to the individuals. Learn new skills and get new certifications and degrees. Register on multiple platforms across industry sector, and then join different professional platforms, academia, conferences, like these networks that we're creating here for you. Optimize, learn, register, and join. Next. So since we're out of time, we'll send this presentation to everyone. Number one, I saw that in several Q&A. People would like the presentation. We'll share that. We'll share with you the contacts of the individuals who spoke. We'll check with them if it's okay with them. Otherwise, either them or their assistant will share their emails so you can reach out to them directly for guidance, support, etc. And to end, what we'll do is then do a quick poll to get your feedback, what you thought about this, and then don't forget your certificate as well that you would be getting at the end of this. So yeah, I think you have to take an action to get that. So let's launch the poll. In the meantime, please type your questions in the chat as well, and we'll ask the different speakers to write to you those responses, and you'll all be able to access them. We only have, I think, 4 questions, so it'll take you less than a minute to answer this. Again, feedback to the team. In question 3, we are missing pharmaceutical manufacturing as an option. We have it in question 4, but not in question 3. Just 60 more seconds. As soon as we hit 70-75%, we can then show the responses. Somebody just asked a question, can we apply for jobs in Australia with a master's degree? The answer is absolutely yes. Several of our graduates have applied for jobs with the UN, in Global Fund, in WHO, and also in the private sector in different countries. So there is no, there's no limitation, no restriction, and that's the advantage of academics. Your PhDs, your masters, your postgraduate diplomas are mobile. You just have to get the right, make sure the right branding, the right experience. And so before you invest a year in education, check with the job that you're interested in, if this is the kind of, these are the kinds of topics that they would be interested in. So know what your endpoint is and then work backwards. Don't just join a program that may not be relevant for you. Find the right one. We're almost there, 65%. Harpreet, lots of questions, and Sonia, lots of questions on scholarships, on tuition fees, etc. Please take them by email jointly, and also internships. Coordinate that with Yvonne as well, so people are aware in terms of full scholarship, partial scholarship, and how they can apply. Okay. All right. So quickly the results. Hopefully everyone can see. Between excellent and good were all the responses, and I'm always looking to see how we can improve. So why didn't we get Yvonne and Eric and Farhan? Why didn't we get all excellent? That means we can still improve ourselves. It's good to know. If you look at what individuals are, where they are currently engaged, they're in the pharmaceutical industry or pharmaceutical sector, or they're looking to transition in. That's about 45%. Interested in growing into leadership roles. So it's not just very good, not just technical areas. And team, we forgot to promote and inform the individuals about the leadership short courses and longer courses that they can take, which links with, and in many cases, we do the leadership with your organization. For example, we've worked with FDAs, with supply chain organizations and UN agencies in building their leadership skill sets. So it would not cost you anything. We find the funding for that. So if your organization, your department is interested in that, please reach out to us. We would then find funding from different sources to build that capacity. Which part of the pharmaceutical ecosystem interests you most? Supply chain and distribution is 60%. So you could have multiple answers, sorry. So it's not just a single answer, but so the responses were supply chain and distribution. We've got R&D, drug discovery, clinical trials. Eric, so you did a great job. So you got people excited in your area. Regulatory affairs is also part of that, quality assurance, GMP. All right, so Farhan also highlighted that. That's wonderful. Market access, commercialization, 13%. Leadership and management up there, about over 50% of you highlighted that as well. So indeed, these are complementary. You need technical, you need leadership and management, and you heard how individuals have grown. So then different degrees, areas of pursuing PGD and masters. And again, let me emphasize what Eric said. He really penetrated not just what degree or diploma, but what are the topics, what are the modules in them. Use that same approach. Understand what it is. Yvonne, who's the rector of GCP, would also be able to guide in these areas and topics. Reach out to her, reach out to our team as well. Okay. So with that, just stop sharing. And I ask the team to now, how do the individuals get their certificate? And then before they jump off, we'd like them to turn on their cameras again so we can take a screenshot of all of them and share back with them as well. So it's not just about us, it's actually more about you. The idea was to bring you all together. So there's a link for the certificate, folks. So please go to the chat link. You'll be able to get and before you jump off, please turn on your cameras and you can stop sharing me as a spotlight. Let's bring everyone together. Thank you, speakers. Really appreciate it.
And thank you so much for leading the moderation, Paul. I think it's been a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Eric, thank you. Farhan, thank you for your guidance.
Thank you.
Ready. Thank you, Eric.
So if we can take off the spotlight so that we get
Yes.
more people in the frame.
Thank you. And please look at the chat. People are saying that the link did not work for at least one person, but double check it's working. Hitesh, can you get everyone in, please?
Let me try.
Turn on everyone's camera. The link is showing an error. All right, so we'll get it fixed right away. So you'll still be able to access it. We'll send link not working. All right, guys, we should have double checked the link is working before this. All right, see, we can improve. That's why we didn't get all excellent. We need to get better. And I still don't see all our colleagues. I guess, Yvonne, they like you more than anyone else, so it keeps coming back to you. All right. We are waiting to see everyone. Actually, while we're waiting, if somebody, Yvonne, Eric, and Farhan, just take a look at maybe in the questions that you'd like to quickly answer.
Okay. Okay, so I think a few people were asking about people who are responsible, so training coordinator. I think for all of these, if you go to the website, you'll get the links that you can reach out to, and you'll get the official communication that is necessary. So please, I think for both Ghana College of Pharmacists and Empower website have been provided in the chat. So just click on it, on whichever one you're interested in, go to the website and you will find information and even maybe a link to whoever you can communicate with. I think that will be easier at this point. Yeah. Okay, so somebody is asking about internship opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry in Ghana. I think perhaps, as Paul has said, if we reach out to Eric, who is with FDA, he should be able to link us to looking at the particular area. So the industries that are strong in those areas, whether it is vaccine production.
I would also suggest be in contact with Eric and Farhan for internship opportunities for both of them, depending on your interest. And now we've got the certificate link working. Thank you, team. So one issue resolved. And now if we can see everybody as well, Hitesh, can you let everyone open their camera and open the spotlight, remove the spotlight?
Already done, sir.
No, I don't see everyone. Can you see everyone, team?
No.
Nope, I only
you are
see
still the
Yvonne.
spotlight.
The view
Yes,
to be
yes,
changed.
yes.
The
I
speaker is
see
on
that.
spotlight.
Yeah, it's on unless I guess what we can do is select the gallery view, everyone, but I don't see anyone right now. I don't here they come. Wonderful. Now we can see people. Okay. Team, we have 150 participants altogether, 151. Please take some screenshots and scroll. Wonderful to see such an active participation. Thank you for taking time out. I see some people in cars, so I hope you pulled over or that you're not driving while you're doing this, okay? That's great. Everyone wave so we can take the photo. Thank you. Beautiful.
Hello.
Have a
Okay.
wonderful day ahead. Have a wonderful week. All the best. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All the best. See you in our next webinar.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
speakers. Cheers.